Hi, my name is Guillaume Bourrin. I am a French pastor currently living in Canada, Quebec, in Montreal, and pastoring there with my colleague Pascal Denot. I want to tell you my heart about Colin and Cindy's work when they were in Paris. I had the privilege to see them working. You know, the church grew very rapidly. That was awesome. In the pace of, I think, 3 or 4 years, it became a church of 200 people, which is huge for Parisian churches. And there were very few leaders, few elders. They were not prepared for that kind of growth and multiplication. And Colin was very instrumental in the way he organized a small group in the church and the way he discipled people. He was very good for following up all these groups and the attendance to this group. So normally when you have a Bible study during the week, you just have like 40-50% of the church who attends to this meeting, and the rest of the church is coming on Sunday. That is not good, it's not the best. But Colin did a great follow-up, encouraged people, and we had a ratio of, I think 70 or 75% of the members, of the people coming on Sunday, not only the members, but the people coming, just attending on Sunday, who were also coming to a community group during the week all around Paris. So that was really awesome. I don't think I heard about such figures in the church in France, and that was directly the consequence of the follow-up of Colin. Colin and Cindy were kind of the leaders of the small group that was meeting in their home in the center of Paris near Luxembourg, and some of my good friends attended there. And honestly, what I can tell about this small group is the way they disciple some of my good friends, especially young people who were looking for guidance. Some of them were struggling with specific sins in their lives, and Colin and Cindy were very pastoral in the way they took care of them. Colin was their real pastor. Some of these young guys, some of them became some leaders in the church or in other churches. They are still talking to me about the example of Colin and Cindy, their hospitality and the way they welcome all these people in their home. I'm very impressed by that, and I'm very happy about that, especially since, you know, for Americans sometimes coming into Paris and being confronted to the French mindset, which is very, very different than the American one, especially the Southern American one. It's always a big challenge, but it seems that Colin and Cindy were like part of us, and that was great, to be honest with you. This is just part of the small things that I saw from Colin and Cindy, but I know many friends of mine could give the testimony of what they did and also what it provided to the church. It provided stability. It did the work that the elders of the church were not able to do because of the rapid growth, and they were just managing all the difficult cases. But you know, the discipleship was mostly organized by Colin with the help of Cindy, and that is something that I'm very grateful, because many of the young leaders I invested in their lives, you know, that I invested in their lives, have been taken care of by Colin and Cindy.
So hello, I'm Kevin, and I am with my wife Priscilla and our daughter Eden. I met Colin and Cindy in our local church in Paris, and when I started coming to this church, I was not the happiest guy in the congregation. I had my own problems, professionally and personally. From the outside, it was obvious that Colin also had some problems, like he was also new in the country, new in France. He was father of a little boy and a baby girl, and he was learning French too and struggling with the language. But despite his circumstance, he was always smiling. I perceived him as a joyful person, so I wanted to get to know him better and learn his secret. So I went to his community group every week. A year later, when I got engaged, my fiancé also joined Colin and Cindy's community group.
Hi, I'm Priscilla. I met Colin and Cindy at church, but I only got to know them once I was a part of the community group in their small apartment in Paris. They impacted me with their biblical way of welcoming people. I grew up in a non-Christian family. We didn't have a lot of guests, and each time we did, it was a huge stress because we were supposed to make a good impression. I was amazed and impressed of how easygoing and spontaneous and casual Colin and Cindy were. Despite a large number of participants, the small kitchen, the baby, the lack of dishes for everyone, somehow they managed to make us all feel welcomed and loved in their home. I thought it was great how they opened the doors every week to large numbers of participants. And each time we met, Cindy would cook for every one of us. Sometimes we were so many, not everyone had space around the table, so some were on the couch, some were on their bed, eating out of a mug. I've learned that the time we spend together is more important than how to set the table when we have guests around. And I've learned how to be more of a Mary than a Martha.
Once my fiancé and I set the date for our marriage, Colin was the first and only person I wanted to marry us. And Priscilla loved the idea. Because of the communion we had every week, I knew his relationship with God, and he knew me and my wife. And that's not all. We also asked them to prepare us for our married Christian life. And it was the best decision. They were so frank and honest with us during those meetings. They open up about their marriage, and they always push us towards God. I want to add that Colin put a lot of effort to marry us in French, and his preaching during the ceremony had an impact on us and on our guests. So thank you, Colin.
Now we're also parents of a little baby girl, Eden Rose. Say hello, Eden. Hello. And Colin and Cindy also helped us to give us a taste of what it would be like being Christian parents, because we spent a lot of time babysitting their children, and they took the time to open up about their parenting and their struggles and how to put God's love in action when bringing up our children. So we really are thankful to both of you, Colin and Cindy. Thank you.
My name is Zoe. I live in Paris, and I would like to tell you about how Cindy and Colin had a huge impact in my life. I met them at the beginning of 2019 as I just had arrived to a new church in Paris and as I went to their community group. It was a first time for me going to a community group as I had never been to one before. I was happy being a Sunday Christian, or at least what I call a Sunday Christian, meaning that I would be there on time for the beginning of the sermon, and then I would leave right after it was ended, and then during the week you wouldn't see me at church or around other Christians. I started going to the community group, which was on Wednesday nights. Every single Wednesday they would open their house to us, they would make us dinner, and we would have a very amazing time of fellowship. With them, I really learned why we need to be around other Christians as often as we can. I learned what praying for each other means, what helping each other with our struggles means. I was able to open to them about many struggles in my life that I had never been able to open up to anyone before, and they welcomed me with mercy, grace, with love, and they became a second family for me, to be honest. Before them, as I said, I was just a Sunday Christian. And as I spent more and more time with them, I just wanted to be around Christians every single day. Now I serve at my local church in several ministries, and it doesn't seem even like serving. I'm very happy to do so. I dare to say that Cindy and Colin were a reflection of what Christ is for me. I can't tell you enough or assert strongly enough the impact they had in my life. Meeting them, that's how I understood what Paul means in Philippians 1 verse 21 when he says, "For me to live is Christ and to die is gain." Before that, for me, to live was not Christ, and death seemed like a very not a good thing for me, to be honest, but being around them, I think I had two salvations, or two moments of salvation in my life. The first one was when I was a very little kid, when I understood what Christ had done for me. But with Cindy and Colin, I went to the second step. I understood what being a Christian really meant, and about how the salvation that I had been given wasn't meant to just stay there, but was meant to produce fruit and to change my life and to change the way I acted. And that's what happened in my life. I really understood what living for Christ means. And that was thanks to Cindy and Colin. And yeah, I'm very grateful for them because they changed my life. I can't stress that enough. And I learned that it's also thanks to you that I don't know. And I wanted to really thank you for your faithfulness into serving the church, into serving Cindy and Colin, because through you they had a huge impact in my life. So although I don't know any of you, you had a huge impact in my life. So yeah, I really wanted to thank you for that.